Hey everybody, Marcus Crawford here with the Idaho Quadcopter channel. Hey, we are back in the plush Idaho Quadcopter studios, otherwise known as my kitchen, to show you an item of interest with the Fimi X8 Mini drone. These drones, you got to remember their names are always a mouthful. You know, I always want to just say the Fimi Mini X8. No, it's the Fimi X8 Mini. But in any case, let's get down to it. So the folks at Fimi sent me one of the Pro batteries for the Fimi Mini. So I thought we would go over, I did some weighing with my postal scale. Now my scale may not be completely accurate, but I think it's pretty darn close. And when I looked at the numbers that I got, I think they were pretty good. And I'll show you, I took pictures as I weighed, and I'll show you that as we go here. So now Fimi says that the drone with the standard battery weighs 258 grams. Now of course that's above the 250 gram limit. That's important to a lot of people. In the US, you don't have to then register it with the FAA. In places like Canada, it's even better. You can pretty much, they just tell you don't be stupid. You can fly it wherever you need to go. And I know there's some big differences in Europe, and I'm sure in other parts of the world as well. So staying under 250 grams is a critical thing for a lot of hobby drone flyers. So in any case, Fimi says that with the standard battery that the drone will weigh 258 grams, and they say with the Pro battery the drone will weigh 245 grams. I had a little bit of a difference there, but I think my measurements will kind of bear out here. So I showed with the standard battery a little bit less than what Fimi says. I showed it at 255 grams. And then with the Pro battery, I showed it at 245 grams. And then I weighed the batteries individually. And the standard battery came in at 95 grams, and the Pro battery came in at 85 grams. So that will tell you that my weights of the drones are probably pretty close, because they agree. 10 grams difference between these two, and then when I weighed it in the drone, I also got 10 grams difference. So you know, I think we're probably pretty close, but you know, if you're not sure, you know, get yourself a little scale and weigh it yourself. But I think we can be pretty confident that that with the Pro battery, it's well under 250 grams. So the differences between the two batteries: the standard battery is a lithium-ion battery with a 2400 milliamp rating, and the Pro battery is a lithium polymer battery with a 2200 milliamp rating. Now the interesting thing is Fimi claims a 30-minute flight time with the standard battery, which is actually a bigger battery, 2400 milliamps, but they claim 31 minutes with this guy. So I don't know if that's because of the weight, even though it's a little bit smaller at 2200 milliamps. Could be because of the weight, I don't know. But I'm just going to tell you a difference of 1 minute in the flight time. Realistically, you probably won't tell any difference out in the field. Now with regard to the batteries, if you are not worried about being under 250 grams, there are some advantages to the standard battery. The lithium-ion battery, you can charge it up and not worry about it, and it will keep a full charge. So in other words, I could charge this guy up and just leave it sitting on the shelf, and you know, a month later go out and fly. Now a lithium polymer battery, that's a little bit different. So you cannot leave these charged up. You have to put them down to a storage charge, which is roughly 25 or 30% charge in the battery. If you leave one of these fully charged, you can ruin the battery and even potentially cause a fire. So you need to be careful. Now I'm going to assume that this is a smart battery. I'll have to take a look at that and get some experience with it, and I'll tell you that it should, after a period of time of non-use, say you charge it up, you end up unable to fly, you don't use it, it should automatically discharge itself down to a storage charge. Virtually all modern lithium polymer batteries do that. Other than hobby batteries like you would put in an FPV drone or something like that, you would have to manually discharge those down to a storage charge. So if I see anything different with this guy, I'll let you know, but I'm quite sure that it will self-discharge. So the other thing that's going on today is that Fimi recently introduced another flight control firmware update. So with everything that I've seen, it was a little bit vague. It talked about something to do with how it interacted with the app, so I don't really know exactly what it does. But I'm going to fire up the drone right here, and let's walk through the firmware update process. In case you're new and you haven't done that before, you can see how that's done. It's really easy, and really the app walks you through the whole thing. But let's take a look at it, and then when we're done, we'll take a look at our firmware numbers and see where they're at. And then once we're done with that, we'll take the drone out and we'll go for a flight with the Pro battery and see if we notice any differences. I don't expect that we will, but we'll just see how it is. Now, with regard to flight time, I'm not going to measure flight time. I just don't think that. For one thing, I fly with a pretty heavy stick, and I can tell you with the standard battery, you know, there's been several flights that I've got, you know, 15, 16, 17 minutes, and I know they're claiming 30 minutes, but you know, like I said, I fly with a pretty heavy stick, so I'm on the throttle quite a bit, and that can make a difference. And quite frankly, you know, if I can get anywhere close to 20 minutes, I'm pretty happy with that. That's, you know, you're pretty focused when you're flying that drone. So 20 minutes in, typically I'm ready to land the drone anyway. So in any case, let's get on with the firmware update. Hey, I want to add one more thing. When I did those weights on the scale, when I was weighing the drone, I did weigh it without the gimbal cover on. So there was no gimbal cover on the drone when I was doing those weights. Okay, let's fire up the drone, and we'll fire up the RC, and let's see when if that RC will connect. Oh yeah, it's trying to charge the battery on my phone. Okay, we started a screen recording, so you guys can see what's going on. And of course we're using the Fimi Navi Mini app. And there it is right off the bat. We're seeing a firmware download. It just says optimize the app firmware update. So I don't know if that just helps it the way it updates the firmware with the app. I don't know, but we're going to start the download, and it didn't take long. It says download completed almost instantly. So let's enter device now, and the drone has been on long enough. It's saying it's ready to fly. Pre-flight check, looks good. Just for the fun of it, I'm going to format the card. I don't know if that affects the firmware update or not, but let's do it anyway. Format succeeded, so that's good, and it is asking us to go ahead and do an update, so we're going to click update now. In fact, I changed my mind. Let's ignore that, and let's go into the settings here, and let's look at the what the firmware that we're at right now. So we're currently on 1008D. And let's click update and see what we come up with. So we're going to start updating. And it's going very, very quickly. We're already at 51%. Okay, it says flight control update succeeds, so update completed. We'll click on that, and gimbal not ready, so I'm sure it'll have to go through another quick calibration. But what that updated us to was flight control 1009H. So yeah, there's probably not much left to do now, but go out and take this thing for a flight. Okay, now that we're all updated with the Fimi X8 Mini, it's time to get it out and fly it. Now, what are we going to be looking for? There is the gimbal pitch shift issue that a number of people have reported, and I've seen it on this one too, and that is where in flight the gimbal will pitch down. Some people have had it even move sideways, and it seems to vary with different people and different drones. I've seen it primarily in sport mode when you're flying faster, which in some cases is kind of understandable, because as the drone pitches forward, the gimbal needs to pitch down so that the camera isn't looking at the top of the drone. So part of that might be by design, but the weird thing about it is it's different in a lot of people's experience. So it's definitely an anomaly. It's not normal, particularly when you see it in normal mode. And again, it varies greatly with different people's experience with the drone. And then the other thing that I have seen is some gimbal shake. In other words, the gimbal moves around a little bit and you get a little bit of jello in the video. I saw that, I think, in a little bit windier condition when I was flying the drone in Montana. When I flew it here locally, I didn't see it as much. However, it was still there to a degree. The other issue that's widely reported is a little bit of an uneven horizon as well. Now, mine has not been too bad, although I do see it a little bit. It's not as bad as some people have had it really bad, where the gimbal is really tilted over. So we're just going to look at all those things when we fly the drone. We're going to see if it flies any differently with the Pro battery. I don't expect it to, but we'll see if it does. So yeah, let's just get out there in the field and let's get this bird in the air. Hey, okay, so we're out in the field. I'm at Heroes Park in Meridian, and let's get this little guy in the air. So yeah, this is the Pro battery. As you can see, it's shaped different. It's a little more square. Doesn't have the two round, what feel like 1850 lithium ions that are in the other standard battery. So let's go ahead and put it in here. And what we're going to do is I will start video just right before we take off, and I'll just leave video running the whole time, and we'll get an idea of how much battery time or flight time we're going to get out of the battery. Again, I'm going to say that's a little bit tough because, hey, it's different for every flyer. I tend to have a pretty heavy throttle, so I probably get less flight time than you do, but it will give us a little bit of an idea. I don't expect it to be, heck, we probably won't even be able to tell the difference between it and the standard battery, but we're going to show it anyway. The other big thing that we're looking for, again, we just did the firmware update, 1009D, I believe it is. It was really kind of vague about what it does, but hopefully, maybe, it helped us a little bit with the issues we had with the gimbal pitch shift, with the shaking in the gimbal, and it's a little windier today, like 6 mile an hour with 11 mile an hour gusts, so, you know, I'm wondering if the wind affects that shaking that I've seen in the gimbal. A little bit of jello. And then also, of course, we'll look at the horizon, although my horizon has been pretty decent. But we're just going to fly this guy around and check it out. So let's quit messing around. Let's get this bird in the air. Okay, it looks like we're ready to go. It's showing 99% battery. Let's look at that safety menu. Return to home height 50 meters is good for where we're at, probably more than enough. Yeah, I formatted the SD card earlier, so we don't need to see that. I like the way they spell pre-flight check, C-H-E-K, but it says normal, so it doesn't look like we need any kind of a compass calibration or anything. Compass looks good. Drone indicator is on. Precise landing is on. We're not going to be in sport mode. We're good there. Let's look at that camera menu real quick. And unlike DJI, I need to go into camera here. And we're going to put the video quality on high, 4K, 30 frames per second. You know, it's perfectly sunny, so I'm going to switch white balance to sunny day. That way our white balance just stays in one spot. Color general, grid lines are on. I'm saying we're good to go here, folks. Let's take one more look at that firmware so that you guys can see the firmware package. I think I said at the beginning here, I said 1009D, it's 1009H, and that's the one that changed, so we'll see what happens. Let's quit messing around and let's get this bird in the air. I'm going to start the recording just at the same time that we take off here, so that we can kind of use that as a flight time recorder. Okay, so I'm going to take off on the app, starting recording now. And the drone is rising. Typically these Fimi drones go up to about 4.5 meters. This guy went a little bit above that, and it says auto takeoff is complete. We'll let it kind of take a quick look at you know, so it knows where it took off from with those downward facing sensors. That should be long enough. Let's bring it down here so you guys can take a look at the drone. And it's moving around a little bit, not too bad. And you can see I've got the sun, it's facing directly into the sun right now. It's about, probably 7:15 p.m. or so right now. Sunset is at 9:30 tonight, so anyway, let's rock it back and forth, and you can see that little gimbal in action, and that worked pretty good. So I am going to move the drone around to the side to do our droney, because I want to go out over the park here. There are some people out there, so we're going to be kind of careful about that. But let's bring the drone around here. Bring it over just a little bit more. Yeah, the wind is kind of pushing it around here a little bit. So in any case, and it's rising kind of on its own here a little bit. I'm going to drop that gimbal down, and we're going to go up pretty quick because we've got to clear some trees here. And we've got some kids running by just as I said that, so I don't want to go over the top of them. And they are directly in the path of where I wanted to go. And parents are close behind, so we'll let them get out of the way. Sorry about the delay here, guys. Okay, reverse and up now, reverse and up. And really hard on the up stick there. And we'll go backwards. And, well, you know, the drone is performing well. I'm gonna yaw around here. Let's pick up that gimbal now so you can kind of see the horizon. And, you know, we might be a little bit crooked, you know, when you're looking at it on grid lines. Other than that, you're not going to be able to tell. But I want to show you something here that I saw. That is some folks out here that are doing some model rocketry right there. They're firing rockets. So I always just found that interesting, that as drone flyers, we have to be really careful and, you know, make sure that we've, you know, got our Part 107 and all that. But you can fire an unguided missile into the air without any issue at all. But yeah, they're firing some rockets off there, so maybe we might be able to see one get fired off. Okay, but so far I've not seen any gimbal drop, gimbal pitch shift, and I have not seen any issues with shake that I can see on the FPV screen. One of the things I want to do here is go into some of the adjustments on the gimbal. One of my subscribers, and I apologize, I can't remember the name right now. If I find it, I'll put it in the screen below, but he was explaining how the gimbal adjustments work, and I'm going to run the gimbal gain back up to 100% because I think that's where I had the best luck before, and we got that taken care of. Now let's go into controls, see if I can find what I'm looking for here. Yeah, so what I was looking for there earlier is the gain and expo tuning sensitivity. So now I always thought that the yaw distance is what adjusted how far the drone would keep moving after you let go of the yaw stick. That is actually the yaw speed, and again, one of my subscribers showed me that. So we're going to run this way down and see if we can slow down that yaw speed, and I'm going to leave yaw sensitivity where it's at. That seems to be the one that controls how far the yaw overruns. So let's take a look at that right now. So we ran it down to 10% there. I am going to yaw to the left, and that did slow it down. And just to show you, you know, it's still pretty quick, but let's go back into that. And let's run that just to show you the difference. Well, let's put it at 50, which is where it was at before, and see if they just fired off a rocket, didn't they? Hopefully we saw that. Yeah, looks like I had it pointed at it and they're running after it. Okay, we're going to try that yaw speed again as I ran it back up to 50. Yeah, and you can see that's a lot faster. So that does make a big difference. So if you're trying to slow down your yaw speed, that's the adjustment. And I appreciate my viewers pointing that out. You would think that yaw sensitivity would be the speed, but that's not it. So I'm going to run that yaw distance back down to 0, and that should help us out a little bit with control. So now we're going to want to continue to want to test this guy out and see what we can see with the gimbal. So. And, you know, we've been recording for about 6 minutes, so we've been 6 minutes in the air. I'm looking, we've got a little bit of a tilt in the gimbal here, but let's go full stick forward. We're in normal mode, and see if we see any gimbal drop, gimbal pitch shift. And I'm not seeing anything. I'm going to let off the stick on my mark. And nothing, so it was good. So let's go full reverse now and see if we can see anything. So full reverse on my mark. And full reverse, and it's looking good. I'm not seeing any gimbal pitch shift whatsoever. And I'm going to let off right now on my mark. Yeah, oh, there we did. Yeah, there's the good old gimbal pitch shift. So that still exists. Now, so the theory that Fimi put that in there on purpose makes no sense, because why would it do that in reverse? I could understand it in forward flight when the drone is pitching forward. So gimbal pitch shift is alive and well, and evidently this this particular drone update didn't do anything. So we're getting good battery life. Look, we're 8 minutes in, and we're still at 70% battery. So let's fly around here a little bit. We got to kind of be careful because we do have a lot of folks in the park today, and we don't want to fly over the top of anybody. So we're kind of paying attention to where people are at. Hopefully not get speared by a rocket as it takes off here, huh? And I want to point out, I am all for those guys being able to fire off their model rockets in the park here. I'm just saying that I think it's weird that that really there's virtually no regulation on them, and you know, they're kind of unguided missiles. So we are full stick forward here, and we're heading right for the pond. Let's grab some altitude while we're at it. I'm seeing a little bit of blockiness on FPV. Don't know what that's about. Let's drop that gimbal down here. I kind of want to see, make sure that we're not Yeah, I don't see anybody down there. I'd kind of get myself in a shady spot. I am getting some blockiness on FPV here, and it shouldn't be. We're pretty close. I'm pointed right at the drone, no obstructions. So we're going to cross here, but let's make sure we can cross when there's no cars coming. I think we got her made right now. And boy, I just had a disconnect there. That's not good. You guys saw that on FPV. What the heck is that about? We're in direct line of sight to the drone, 250 meters away. So that's not what we want to see for sure. Let me raise that gimbal up. You know, we're in a kind of a semi-urban place here. Could there be a little bit of interference? I suppose there could be, but yeah, it's kind of weird here. Keeps dropping out, and that's just our FPV signal. Yeah, I don't know. And it comes back. I know the territory here, so I'm kind of comfortable with what I'm doing, but yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, I mean, you can see it. Heck, I'm looking at our signal strength meter here, and even the drone signal, and oh yeah, see, we're completely gone there. Yeah, we completely lost signal, and we were about 700 meters away. Okay, we got it back, and it looks like it went into return to home. So the drone will be coming back to us. But that's a little crazy. And we're in fail-safe return, and I'm holding the, we really don't have a lot of obstructions here. I don't know why that is. Looks like we got data back, but we haven't. Oh, there's FPV came in quickly behind it, and we're in fail-safe return. So I can't say much about range, and that's not a battery issue. So I'm gonna stop that because I don't want to cross where the drone is trying to cross right now. Okay, we canceled that. Looks like we got pretty good signal back. So. But boy, I'll tell you what, that sure doesn't speak much for range, did it? Okay, let's go back over the top here. And we're gonna look for when we got a clear spot. And I think we do right now, so we better do the boogie here. Right behind that blue car. And we got her made, and we're back over the park, and as you can see, the FPV is really blocky, and there's no reason for that. There's nothing really that should be obscuring us. Okay, let's see if we can bring the drone around here, and I see those rocketry guys. We're going to stay away from them. And as I yaw here, you know, we really got a tilted horizon now. That horizon is, yeah, that's ridiculous. There's no getting around that one, and it's starting to flatten out as we move around. But you know, those are things that make it hard to get cinematic video. And what's the point of having a drone like this if you're not if you can't get cinematic video? Now, of course, it's completely flat now. It's perfect, but as we made that move, it definitely went sideways on us. Okay, I'm going to, with the right stick, I'm going to push it clear to the left here, and let's go sideways, and let's see if we can induce any horizon tilt, and it looks good. Although it looks to me like the gimbal was slowly raising on us. Let me drop it back down. So that's me moving it down. Okay, now we're going to move the right stick to the right, go perfectly sideways, and see what that does. And again, yeah, look at that. We lost. Now, you know, we went from a perfect signal to losing full connection there. I don't know, that's pretty crazy. And like I said, this is an urban environment. We're 50 meters high too. I mean, we're definitely high enough that we should be above the fray. 45% battery. Oh, I see some other people down there, so we're going to stay out of their way. Okay, we're going to stop right here so we don't go over the top of them, and I'm going to turn around, face the other direction, and we're going to throw this baby into sport mode. And of course, this is the time of day when this park is going to get some use, right? The sun is starting to go down and people are going to want to start to use the park. So this is a good spot here. Let's pick that gimbal up. And I'm going to back up just a little bit. I can safely back up some. And of course we lose connection. And of course, as soon as I let off the throttle, we got that gimbal pitch shift. The gimbal dropped. I'm telling you, Fimi, you got to fix this gimbal. It's yeah, that's all I can say is you got to fix this gimbal. Okay, so just for the fun of it here, if we really want to see some gimbal craziness, let's throw it in sport mode. And I am going to go, ooh, I see, they must have just launched a rocket. I see that kid down there running, and I don't want to fly over the top of him. And there's the dogs chasing him. Well, I think he's the other side of us now, so we should be good to go here. So full stick forward now, on my mark. Full stick forward, and yeah, boy, look at that. There's some gimbal pitch, and of course, then we immediately lose signal. Yeah. Oh, man, that's a little disconcerting, isn't it? I didn't even see how fast we were going there. Let me see if I can pick the gimbal up. And I can't even, yeah, I don't have good enough control to do that. Okay, let's turn around the other way, and we'll get the sun at our back. And again, you know, I'm getting a lot of blockiness on FPV here, and as I yaw, you can see that horizon tilt. That is an unacceptable level of horizon tilt, in my humble opinion. Okay, I'm going to back it up just a little, and I am pointed direct. Look at, as soon as I let off the throttle, look at that gimbal drop. Holy cow! Okay, so I'm going to pick the gimbal back up, and we are going to go full stick forward on my mark. Full stick forward, and of course we get that gimbal pitch shift immediately, and of course we lose connection immediately, but I'm holding it down. We got 18 meters per second. I can see the drone, so I'm comfortable. We're going to stop right there and flip it around. I got to tell you, this is unforgivable, this amount of signal loss. So, okay. Let me, we're just going to fly around a little bit here, and I'm going to go back into normal mode. So, you know, what is going on with that gimbal, I can't tell you. Now, if you got a little shift in forward flight in sport mode, that is perfectly understandable at that point. You're trying to keep the camera from looking up at the props or at the nose of the drone. Now when it drops when you're in reverse, yeah, and it's telling us low battery, but that's okay. And there's some kids playing soccer here, so because we're having a little few FPV issues, we're not going to go any further than that, so we don't fly over the top of them. And okay, we can fly back over the boy, we keep losing signal. I'm gonna raise some altitude. Let's go way up there. Let's see if we keep getting that signal loss. And I gotta tell you, I'm pointed straight at the drone, so let's go up there a ways. Okay, we're up, I don't know, over 90 meters. So See if that's, yeah, we're still getting that signal loss. So, boy, I don't know, guys, I just don't know what that is. And you know, we're 150 meters away from the drone, and I'm pointed directly at it with the remote. And now it's giving us compass interfered. But what I'm trying to do here is go into that automatic return to home, low battery return to home, and we'll see what we get for flight time. And we're already up to 20 minutes, which I think is more than acceptable. Okay, turning around again. Yeah, so I'm gonna let it do that on its own. I'm gonna go straight off this way. Yeah, so it's throwing itself into auto return, or it's supposed to. Yeah, there it is. Okay, took it a second to turn around there. I was wondering. And we're down to 21% battery, and we've been flying for over 20 minutes, so I'd say that's perfectly acceptable. That's good battery life. Look at there, we've got a decent horizon. Let's drop the gimbal down so we can see where we're at here. And we're looking straight down, and we're up there a ways, so it's probably hard to see where I'm standing right there, but there's my car, and of course it's not detecting the landing pad yet, but I suspect it will here as it comes down. Still landing pad not detected at about 25 meters high. I won't let it land in the rocks there. Landing pad not detected, landing pad detected, and it's moving, so that's good. Look at that, how high was it? It was about probably 10 meters high when it saw that. The drone just moved right over, and so it's zoning in on it. I think we're gonna get it. Yeah, this guy is pretty good at that. And there we go, right in the middle of the H. You can't beat that with a stick. Let me lift that camera back up. So I didn't look at that final flight time before it shut off the camera there, but I'm going to say we had 22, 23 minutes of flight, maybe even a little more. And that, let's see, we took it down to 15% battery. So, you know, they're probably not far off. They're saying 31 minutes flight time. You know, if you ran that battery all the way down, you know, you'd probably be 27, 28 minutes, but it isn't good for the battery to run it down. In fact, this is probably lower than you should run a lithium polymer battery. 20% usually for me is about as far as I typically go. Let me get this all shut down and we'll do our conclusion. Hey, okay, the Fimi X8 Mini with the Pro battery. Flight time, you know, we were well over 20 minutes there, taking it down to 15%. That is perfectly acceptable. I don't think I got, probably even, I think I got even less than that with the standard battery. So I'm going to say it's a winner. And it does definitely get the drone under 250 grams. 245 grams is what I came up with on my scale. So, you know, you're perfectly legal in countries where it's an advantage to have an under 250 gram drone. Now, what issues did we have today? We continue to have issues with connection, and this was weird today because not only were we losing the FPV connection a little bit, it was moving in and out, although it was different than what I experienced in Montana. It was different. I don't know if there's interference here or what, but it doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know why there would be any more Wi-Fi interference here than in any other urban environment. And you've seen me fly this over by the school that I fly at that's close to my house. There's a big cell phone tower there and stuff, and we didn't have the same problems there. So, I mean, I just don't have an answer there, but we definitely had a lot of connection issues. I got out about, I don't know, roughly 700 meters with it, and I mean, it lost connection completely and turned around and came back. You know, I was familiar with where I was flying out there. I wouldn't have probably continued out as far as I did. You knew I was over that open field, so I wasn't worried about it. The other issues that we still see, and of course we didn't really know what this firmware update addressed, but we still have the gimbal pitch shift where the gimbal drops. And like I said, what's odd is if you're going forward and the gimbal or the drone is pitched forward like this, you can understand why they would pitch that gimbal down, because they would not want the camera looking at the top of the drone. But the interesting thing is, we saw it when the drone was in reverse. When the drone is backing up, why would you pitch the gimbal up? I don't know. It's odd. And you know, it's one thing in sport mode for that to happen, but it also happens in normal mode. It's a problem, and it's something that Fimi needs to address. And then as far as any kind of shakes in the gimbal, I won't be able to, you guys will have already seen the video off the SD card. I haven't seen it yet, so I don't know. I didn't see anything on FPV. That was the other problem. I had really blocky FPV, so it was sometimes difficult to know where I was pointing the drone because the FPV was so blocky. Even when we had good signal, in other words, the signal bars, I would have full signal, but it still was blocky. So I don't know what that was about. Every flight is different with this drone. And then we did see some, at a couple of different times, we saw some significant horizon tilt. So as I was, when I got back in over the park here from flying in the field across the street, I was moving the drone in an arc, and man, it tilted the heck out of that gimbal, and it finally straightened out. But again, that's pretty tough to deal with too. So hopefully, Fimi, hopefully that's something that you can get figured out. You know, I don't think that horizon has to always be perfect, but it's got to be better than that, than what we saw there. And then let's see what else. Oh, we showed how to slow down that yaw control. Yeah, I guess that's about it. This is Marcus Crawford with the Idaho Quadcopter channel out, and if you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing to my channel. Most of all, I really appreciate you taking the time to look at this video. And yeah, of course, we'll see you on the next one. The Fimi X8 Mini, it's a drone with a lot of promise, and I really want Fimi to keep working on it and see if we can work through some of these gimbal issues. I'm going to say it one more time. I love flying this drone. It flies great. It's a drone. Nice drone with a nice camera in search of a gimbal that works. So I guess that's about it. We'll see you later. Bye now.